Another Antsonarock video. Welcome to the Ant Corner.
Hey there guys and girls, welcome back to another Antsonarock Review. You may notice we've got some new equipment here in the studio, which is really great, so thank you very much to my Patreons for helping to support this channel. If you want to help support this channel, check out the links in the description, join the Patreons, and there's all sorts of little perks that you get. You also help this channel's growth, which would just be absolutely amazing. But anyways, on with today's video. This video is by Ant's Hood, and I think he's made a little spelling mistake in the title, but we'll have to wait and see. It's My Camponotus nicobarensis lost of brood, finally. I think he meant to write lots of brood, finally, but it says lost. So we'll have to wait and see if they all die off, or if they're coming back. Anyways, let's have a little watch, shall we?
Hello ladies and gents, another video brought to you by Ant's Hood, and today's video is about my Camponotus nicobarensis, or my Nicos, and lots of brood. Finally I've got.
Brilliant. So it was just a little spelling mistake in the title. Lots of brood, finally. Now, if you've been watching Ant's Hood and keeping up to date with his Nicos, you'd know that they've had a huge die-off lately, which is a little bit of a concern for such a great thriving colony. But by the looks of this photo here, they're doing so much better. We'll have to just wait and see. Let's watch the rest.
Got lots of brood. Now, you guys know the story about these. It's been very rocky roady over the past year with them. If you haven't, check out the playlist in the top right corner now, and you can check out how much up and down it's been with these girls. But I do just want.
I will obviously put a link to this video in the description if you want to check out the video and then go on to check out that playlist. That would be really great for Hood's channel, so please do that as well.
I want to say I have got a bit of a bunged up nose, so if I sound a bit weird today, it's because I've got a cold. Don't worry, it's not COVID. Well, I hope not. If you cast your minds back, you remember that I've kept these predominantly in the Ants Canada hybrid Camponotus nests, and I moved them out because the airflow was rubbish and there was a lot of moisture building up in it. So I moved them into this S6 laptop nest from Wakushi, which was kindly gifted to me by Naturu, so thank you very much for that, and they seem to be doing really well again. So this is them.
That is a massive nest. That laptop style, briefcase style nest, it's just massive. And look how full it is. Like, this ant colony is really doing well. It's got huge numbers. I mean, you could see the numbers in the Ants Canada nest where there was just loads and loads of ants, but this, like, you can really see it there. That picture he had at the start, really good picture. I mean, you could see all the different pupae and stuff. If we just go back quickly, where are we? Right, so we'll just go back quickly. Look at that. You can see larvae, pupa, eggs. Really is amazing. They're doing really well. So if we just go back to about here and carry on.
This is them currently. They've got the S6 nest on the right and this little wooden nest on the left. Now, this little wooden nest I was gifted to by a Patreon. He wanted me to check it out for him. So I've not really doing it justice, to be fair, because I noticed that my Camponotus were chilling in the tubing a lot and in the outworlds again. So I thought I'll give them a little nest, see if they expand into it. If they do, then I might put a bigger nest. But they've just really turned this into their trash at the moment, so at the moment
I've always been slightly worried about using wooden nests with Camponotus. Obviously Camponotus eat wood. Well, they don't eat wood, they make their nests in wood, which means that they have the ability to bite through it and tear it up, basically. So I've always been a little bit dubious about wooden nests with Camponotus. In fact, I know someone recently put their Camponotus Nicos in a wooden nest, and by the next day they had chewed their way through it and it was just completely destroyed, which is a bit of a shame, but learning process, I suppose.
I'm not really looking at expanding it. Either two things: they don't want to expand and they're just putting rubbish in it, or they don't like the climate in the nest. Either way, they ain't happy with it, so I'm probably going to disconnect it soon. I'm taking that more of a fact that my nicobarensis don't particularly want to move or need to move, because if you can see in the picture there's still space in this the S6 nest, still. But anyway, let's take a look at the bottom part of the S6 nest. Now this is without
Wow.
the filter on. You can see there is some.
Wow, that is a lot of ants all round. Look at that, all of those pupa, tons of ants. I think that's the probe. Wow, that's a lot of ants. Play Spot the Queen, you can hear.
Pupae in there, not a great deal, but there is still quite a fair bit. If we look at the macro lens, you'll see this is some of the prawn that I've given them, and I'll talk about that in a bit because I've got a bit of a time lapse recording as we speak now, to be honest. But that's all prawn, believe it or not.
Prawn. Now, some of my ants I've tried with prawn, they didn't really seem that bothered by it. They kind of, I think it scared them a bit, to be honest. But if he's having success, it'd be interesting to find out.
Not, and they've destroyed it already. But generally speaking, it's just workers. There's not much young brood in here. It just seems to be pupae from what I'm looking at it. But this is me going around the outside of the nest, just showing you how they're getting on. As you can see, there is still bags of space in here. So this is why I don't think they're really interested in the other nest, because they've kept this relatively clean. But if you look, this is the central chambers in the left, the bottom left one as you look at it, and you can see it's got a nice like pile of pupae in there. So they're doing really well, which is cool, because you know the struggle I've had with these. And this is the second chamber where the pupae are as well. And there's actually some larvae there as well, as you can see. Now, the last time I seen one of the queens, she was in this area, but I've not seen her for a while, so I managed to go up to the back bit, which you will see shortly. But yeah, there's still bags of space in this nest, so, and I can't figure out if that's a bit of prawn or if that was eggs.
Like Hood said, there is still a fair bit of space in this nest, which is probably the main reason they're not moving out. Ants like to be in tight, confined spaces. That's why we keep them in test tube until we can't keep them in test tube anymore, and why we keep them in smaller nests than what you would think to buy. Most beginner ant keepers will make the general mistake of buying an ant nest for them to grow into. That's kind of technically wrong way to do it. You want to buy an ant nest that's basically the size of the colony and wait for them to outgrow it. Anyways, back on with the video.
I think it was prawn. But then again, there's not much larvae here to feed them. But yeah, there's a couple of bits of pupae here, but mainly workers just chilling. Yet again, a little bit of pupae, mainly workers chilling, and they have got lots of prawn, which is what I was looking for here, in this nest as well. Interesting point, I've never actually hydrated this nest at all. I know that might sound a bit bizarre, but it's true, I've not watered it at all. I think the Campanotes just maintain the humidity themselves by cleaning the brood with the fresh water that I give them.
That's a really good point. Ants do that. I very rarely water one of my nests upstairs because it's one that they dig in themselves, and I just don't want to mess with the equilibrium of the nest by flooding it, basically. But the rate that they go through water, they go, so much, and that's basically what I assume is they use the water from the water feeders to keep the brood and everything hydrated as it needs to be, which is a great way of doing it. I mean, if they can do that, they got to have substantial numbers in the first place to be able to do that. Otherwise, those workers aren't going to be able to feed and do the other jobs that are needed to do. But if your colony's a decent enough size and you can get away with that, then definitely go for it.
But anyway, this is the back part of the laptop, or the top section. And as you can see, there is loads and loads of brood. I'm not talking like the figures that I used to have previously, but considering how it's been, this is a really marked improvement, and I'm really pleased. So if we get the macro shot on as well, because I love a macro shot, even though it was difficult to film at this angle, believe it or not, you can see that they're doing well again in here. They're full of feathers, abdomens are really swollen up, which is really cool. But more importantly, how much cleaner can you guys see that this nest is compared to the old Ant Canada nest? They've kept it relatively clean. And as we look at the brood, there is a great pile of brood, and there's one of the queens there, as you can tell, because you've got the young brood around.
Let's just put it back a sec. There, that's the queen. Beautiful.
Queens there, as you can tell, because you've got the young brood around it as well, and loads of young brood, larvae stage, pupae stage, and all different stages, but it is quite full. Now these are quite deep. I'd probably say they're about 1.5 centimetres deep, so there is quite a significant pile of brood there, which is excellent news, because like I said guys, you cannot tell me how much I have had my trials and tribulations with this colony. They boomed to over 4,000. They dropped to maybe 1,500, and now they're picking back up again. What they're at now, I don't know. I'm going to make a guesstimate, say around 2,000. Who knows for sure? But once this brood hatches and stuff, hopefully there'll be a lot more. As you can see, the second chamber mirrors this. There is plenty of brood in there as well.
Loads brood. The colony's doing really well. As you said, it did have that die off, and to see it making this comeback is really positive. It is one of my favourite colonies to watch, especially of ants hoods, but over the whole internet this is one of my favourite colonies to watch, just because they've been quite an interesting story and just a great colony to watch. And I do like the little tank outworld that they've got as well.
And the third chamber, plenty of pupae again, which is really good. And I think, yep, that's the second queen, I think it is. No, it's not the second queen, I'm talking rubbish. Ignore me. As you can see, there's still plenty of young larvae there. It looked like there was a clutch of eggs in that worker, and there's the second queen. So they are both in the back now, which is cool. But like I said, at the top chamber, you've just got workers just chilling, and then you'll see there's bags of space and still to expand into if they need. So if we take a look at the outworlds, because that's where they like to chill as well, they're chilling in there, they are chilling in here as they generally do, but I've got a prawn there, and I'm just doing a filming a time lapse of that now.
There you go, they are eating that prawn, they're absolutely smashing it in. Now I like this outworld, it's got like little buildings and stuff, it looks like a little war zone. I do like this little outworld, but yeah, they're going for that prawn. In fact, I think one of my colonies did go for prawn, but it wasn't until it had like dried out after a day or so. Bit weird, but here we go.
I'm using my old phone to film this for you, believe it or not. But I've still got the cool lenses on it though, because they still work on that too, which is great. But anyway, I'm digressing. This is the nest, you've seen that, and the tubing going up, they're still chilling in the tubing, and this horrendous outworld, which is the Ant Canada crappy piece of rubbish. I really need to disconnect this, because it serves no purpose anymore, and
Hood doesn't really like Ants Canada, which is fair enough. Ants Canada doesn't do much to serve us in the ant community apart from bringing new viewers in and then leaving them to us to take care of when he screws them over with rubbish colonies and equipment. But yeah, Ant's Hood is right. This outworld is just, it's a good outworld if you're a very basic style ant keeper. If you want to like film them, it's kind of rubbish because of the shape of it, reflections and all of that. And it's just like, there's much better things on the market, I think, much better things. I've heard a lot of issues with it, like the air flow or the holes, because there's 4 holes on the back or something, and the stoppers are rubbish and connections are slippery, all sorts of things. But I won't get into that too much, it's just I have heard a lot about that outworld. Let's keep going.
Pants. And this is what I mean about the wooden nest. They've pulled the cotton wool that put the blocker in to stop them getting out from. But if you see, they put these chambers here, they've turned it into trash. Now, I generally think this is more due to the fact that they just don't need the space at the moment more than anything else, because they're not chilling in the outworld as much as they used to. But I've still got bags of space in the S6 nest. So I'm kind of like inclined to say I'm not.
It's not going to be long, and he'll have to take them out of that nest anyways and clean it basically, otherwise it will just turn the mould, especially in the wood. I expect the whole wood will take the mould really easily, and it will just spread and spread and spread, and you don't want that going into the main nest.
Passing judgment on this nest yet, which is very beautiful. Just need to get a colony to go into it though. I have actually got a colony that I'm planning to put in this, but that's quite far away at the moment because they're only a small colony and this is quite a large nest. So for now, I think I'm going to move my Nikos out, clean it up, and then put it on standby for them.
There you go. Ant's Hood knows what he's talking about. He just literally said what I had already said. He's going to clean it out and get it for another colony. So that'll be interesting in the future. We'll keep our eyes out for that and see what he comes up with.
You all know I love a time lapse and you all know I love a macro shot. How about a time lapse macro shot? But no, on a serious note, you can see how quickly they start to process this prawn. They're already stripping off the top layers, you can see. If not, go back 10 seconds to the start of this video and you'll see that it was very much like red coated and they've just annihilated it. And they continue to annihilate it as well. They're just absolute machines. Reminds me back in the days when I used to feed them pinkies as well.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen them destroyed.
Pinkies are great fun. You need quite a substantial colony to feed the pinkies, but once you get to that stage, pinkies are really good to feed. They're just huge for a start, so loads of protein for your colony. Keep them busy for a long time, but it's quite impressive just to watch the way they strip it down from the bones and stuff. I actually quite enjoy putting the pinkies in the multi-species tank. Bones and everything disappear. I've never had to remove anything from the multi-species tank. It's pretty insane.
In a pinky, which is a little baby mouse, you need to. It's really interesting. It is on the playlist I linked at the start of this video, so check it out if you choose. But I won't lie, I don't think that they've got the brood to be able to process something as big as a pinky, and I'm kind of concerned if they can process this properly, because it's quite big compared to the brood pile, because a lot of the brood is just pupae, which don't need the protein anymore. So we'll have to wait and see though. I'll stop talking rubbish for today. I hope you enjoyed this update of my Nick.
And I'll leave it there as well. We're going to just stop. And I'll stop there as well. So that was a great video from Antsonarock. If you enjoyed that, check out his channel. Don't forget to leave him a sub as well. Don't forget to hit this little like button for me. Sub to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video. So as always from me, I'll see you again soon, Ant fans.
And a massive thanks to Jason Walker for his continued support as a Patreon. If you're interested in supporting this channel, then check out my Patreon in the link below. See you again soon, Ant fans.